Hello, fellow gaming fans. Welcome to the Video Gamers Podcast. We are three dads who are lifelong gamer dads, and on Thursdays like today, we break down recent gaming news by giving some of our thoughts on the week's biggest stories. Please take a second to rate our show 5 stars, and if you like what we do here, which is lighthearted discussion on gaming, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Starts at just $5 a month. There are all kinds of perks, like bonus episodes, shout out on the show, all our content ad-free and a day early, Discord perks, all kinds of stuff. You can check it out at multiplayersquad.com. I am your host, Paul, and joining me, he doesn't have a PS5, but might be getting one of his favorite PS exclusives on PC, maybe even before the end of the year. It's Josh.
Man, I cannot wait for this. Very similar to how I played the first one, where I borrowed a PlayStation and then it came to PC with a PC port. And then I really took my time with it and just enjoyed every aspect of the game. Needless to say, I can't wait.
A little bit of deja vu. And then joining Josh and me, he is just thankful that he runs his own business and doesn't have to fear being laid off by Microsoft. It's Ryan.
Oh, don't you put that evil on me. They may show up out of nowhere. You never know.
Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby?
Yeah. Hey, though, if they want to come buy my company, I'll happily sell.
Sure. And then you can just start another one.
Yep.
The Michael Scott Paper Company.
Perfect.
No shortage of opportunities. All right. So, guys, we got to start out here with some sad news. I will say this is not really a week of like super happy, positive news. We have talked a lot about gaming layoffs like over the last 6 or 7 months. It's such a hard time right now out there for developers. I read that a recent survey even showed that 1/3 of all gaming developers have been impacted by layoffs within the last year. I'm sure many of our listeners remember, I'm sure you guys remember, Microsoft acquired ZeniMax Media, which is the parent company of development teams like Bethesda, for $7.5 billion not that long ago. And unfortunately this week, news came down that a few of these acquired studios were being shut down. Arcane Austin, the people behind Prey and Redfall, is gone. Tango Gameworks, the team behind The Evil Within 1 and 2 and Hi-Fi Rush, gone. Alpha Dog Games, the team behind Mighty Doom, which is a mobile game I have shared my love of, is gone. Matt Booty, the head of Xbox Game Studios, great name by the way, basically just said the studios were spread too thin. By closing some, it can open up funds for their other projects with the rest of the company, and they're going to scale down how many games they release. We don't know yet how many people are going to lose their jobs over this, but it's going to be a lot. This is the kind of news that we just hate to see, right, guys?
Yeah, it's, our job is to cover the news for people. And sadly, what's going on in the gaming industry is unfortunately just continuing to make news. So it's not that we like sad stories or that we want to complain about, Microsoft or something like that. It's just, this is what's going on in the gaming world right now. And unfortunately, we've been seeing it go on. I don't know what this shakeup is. A lot of people want to blame it on post-COVID, and say, hey, during COVID, everybody was staying at home and playing video games. And so all these developers were working on things. And then we kind of
too bloated, hired too many people.
And I mean, I used to work for a mega corporation. And I mean, it is definitely true. They will overhire to meet what they think is going to be demand. And then if that demand isn't there, then they just go, oopsies. And then they lay off a bunch of people, and that's, I mean, legitimately, that's kind of the cycle. So I think we're seeing that, whether it's post-COVID or poor management or, some sort of elite level business strategy that, our brains can't comprehend. I don't know. What I know is that this sucks for the developers. This sucks for the studios. Here's the thing. If I said, hey guys, what happened with Redfall? Right? What happened with Redfall? Well, it flopped.
Don't ask me.
Right? Yeah. The game flopped. Terrible release. Just poor across the board. I can fathom like saying, hey, you know what? Sorry, Arcane. What is it? Austin. We're going to shut you guys down. We lost a lot of money on this. even though I suspect that Redfall was a failure because of the publishers, not the developers, because they kind of pushed them into trying to make it like a live service game. Regardless of that, I can at least wrap my head around that. When you say we're shutting down Tango Gameworks, who made Hi-Fi
Friendly
Rush,
Fire.
Yeah.
what the heck, man?
I don't get it. They acquired all these different studios, so the one that you would think would be totally safe would be Tango Gameworks. I mean, Hi-Fi Rush was such a critical success. It sold a ton of copies, one of the most beloved games last year. I mean, and not only that, The Evil Within 1 and 2 are really solid games. I felt so bad seeing some of these tweets from like the CEO showing a picture of all their awards that they've won. Like, it just goes to show you can win a ton of awards, you can run a great studio, you can release great games. Doesn't necessarily mean you're going to survive and make it. It really is just a shame. I can't believe out of all the studios they acquired, I mean, obviously Bethesda is going to be safe, but Tango Gameworks, I'm really sad to see go in this.
Oh, for sure. And I mean, it's a tough one. I was thinking about this the other day with like for sports comparatively, you're a GM and you build this great team and you're kind of heart and soul is into it, and then a new owner comes in and then just wants to clean house, and well, you're gone, all this work. And so I feel for these devs that's like their life, and they put everything they had into this, and somebody buys your company out and you're under the umbrella, and then they just shut you down. And unfinished projects, that would just drive me nuts. You've spent all this time on it, you're working on it, you're pouring your soul, and then it's just pulled away from you. It's just weird to me. Like, and I don't know about you guys, but remember the days when we just talked about if games were good or bad, and that was like the world of gaming, oh, that one's good, oh, that one's not. I feel like there's just so much more around this now, so much more kind of just junk that we have to worry about instead of just, do I like this game or do I not?
Well, it's kind of funny that you say that, Ryan, because I assume you guys saw that the gaming community is so supportive of Tango Gameworks that they have been reverse review bombing
I love it.
their games. So people are taking to Steam. They are giving The Evil Within 1 and 2 and Hi-Fi Rush positive ratings. And all the comments are about how it's just such a shame that the studios are being shut down. I don't remember ever seeing a reverse review bombing like this, but I love it.
I am here for it. Man, let's make this a trend, guys. I mean, legitimately.
Power to the people.
Yeah, that's like my favorite thing ever, because it's like a positive spin on things instead of the, I'm not a fan of review bombing stuff. And it's like, that kind of bugs me for the most part, except for Helldivers. That was warranted. But yeah, I'm for, voicing that kind of positive opinion too. Yeah, it's really weird. Ryan, you kind of brought up a good point. Do we need to start looking at the gaming industry like the sports industry? Like, I'm a big football fan, and, in football, you're either winning or you're out. I mean, head coaches change jobs all the time. Players have a lifespan in the NFL of like 2, maybe 3 years, unless you're like an absolute superstar. And then they just fade away, or they get traded or put on the practice squad or whatever. And it's weird because everybody's used to that. That's just the way it is. But is it like, but we're gamers and it's never been that way in the gaming industry. But is that just the way it is now? Is it's like, hey, you made a great game. Congratulations. You're at the top of your game. You get 2 to 3 years and you're traded, and now you're on the practice squad.
And moved on to other projects.
Yeah, but I mean, I hate to think of it that way, but it's almost like that's the way it seems like things are now. My hope, because I am an optimist, my hope is that, especially with Tango Gameworks, and honestly, even the people at Arcane, I don't think it's their fault that Redfall flopped like it did. My hope is that, these are studios that are getting shut down. But I really hope that the talent at those studios is being acquired. Like, I hope the devs and the artists and the, all the people that are involved in the process of actually making a great game like Hi-Fi Rush or Dishonored for Arcane, I hope that they're picked up by people and like their talents are realized and stuff. So I don't know, man. This just sucks all around for the people involved. As gamers, this sucks to see all this too. I hate that I have seen people like railing on Xbox and kind of trying to turn this into like a whole console war thing. Like, just stop it. That's not the point of any of this. If you think Sony is like, I mean, we just went through it, right? Again, with Helldivers and stuff. So stop the console war stuff. But I mean, this is just sad, man. And I don't understand the business behind it.
Yeah. I mean, it probably means we're not going to get a Hi-Fi Rush sequel. We probably won't get a new Dishonored game moving forward because even though Arcane Lion worked on it, so did Arcane Austin. It really is just a shame. Let's go ahead and move on to our next story. So it was not that long ago. It's only been a couple weeks when we talked about the announcement of a new Prince of Persia game called The Rogue Prince of Persia. It's a 2D roguelike, and it was initially slated to enter early access on May 14th. Well, another popular roguelike by the name of Hades 2 had a surprise early access release on May 6th. So Evil Empire, which is the development studio behind the Rogue Prince of Persia, they issued a tweet that was shockingly honest and open.
Dude, I loved this tweet, by the way. I loved this.
I can't believe that we're about to herald a studio for delaying their game, but they basically just essentially said, hey, Hades 2 is too big for us to compete with. We want to play Hades 2. We know you guys are playing Hades 2. We're just going to delay our game at the last minute, and we're going to push it back to May 27th. And I can't believe that everyone kind of like universally is celebrating this tweet. Is that how low the bar now is for publishers and developers, that we're just saying thank you for just being honest, even though it's like upsetting news?
Yes. I mean, look at, okay, again, I'm going to use Helldivers because, everybody, we're all fighting for democracy. But the CEO of Arrowhead Studios, a guy by the name of Pilstedt, that's his Twitter handle. I think that's his last name. Eric might be his first name, sorry. But he's just brutally honest with people. He owns up when they make a mistake. If somebody suggests something to him, he'll actually respond. He'll be like, dude, that's a great suggestion. Let me take that to the team. I think we have gotten to a place as gamers, thankfully, where we value honesty at this point, and I have to give Evil Empire, their due, because this is the first time that I have seen somebody say, we don't want to release when that other game releases. Like, they're way bigger than us. We don't need to split the gaming population between these games. How many times have we said on this show, right? Like, dude, you released your game when? You released your game up against Baldur's Gate 3? Like, what are you thinking? Like, just delay your game? But like, here's somebody that actually went, yeah, this probably makes a lot of sense that we don't want to go up against Hades 2, guys. Let's give it a couple weeks. The fever will die down a little bit. People will be ready to try the next thing, and then we'll release. Like, common sense should win out.
Yeah, well, common sense, unfortunately, isn't that common most of the time nowadays. But yeah, it's like refreshing. I guess the word I would use is so much in I mean, even in society, but with internet and social media and all that stuff, it's just everything's rose-colored glasses. Everybody kind of paints this facade of what everything is. But when people just come out and just tell you the truth, whether you like it or not, and are straightforward, hey, this other game's pretty sweet. Let's push it a week or two and kind of balance this out for them and us, and then everybody's happy. So I think it's neat. It sucks for the people that were really hyped and anticipating this game, but I mean, for an extra week or two to get more sales, which generates more revenue for the game itself, and could potentially launch for more. I think it's just wise. It was a good decision.
I did love a tweet that they issued later. I don't know if you guys saw it or not, but they said, if Silksong shadow drops in the next 2 weeks, we're burning this whole thing down, which I thought was so funny. And that's like such a, I think all gamers can understand the frustration with having to delay. And it's like, I know we all want Silksong, but just for the sake of Evil Empire, I just want them to have a nice release.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that being said, we got to take a break for some ads, and then we'll be right back.
If you're an athlete, you know the greatest motivator of all is the fear of letting your teammates down. After all, a team is only as good as its weakest link. So you owe it to those wearing the same jersey as you to be your best every time you step on the field. That's why there's no vape in team. When you vape, you can expose your lungs to toxic chemicals that can damage your lungs. If you're a step behind, the team's a step behind. Brought to you by The Real Cost and the FDA.
Okay, we are back. We got a news story this week of a leak, which I would say is probably a little bit more substantial than a rumor. It seems like we know what the next PlayStation port to PC will be. It seems like...
Say it. Tell me the name.
God of War Ragnarok. Great game. Beloved game. All three of us absolutely love it. We've all played it on PS5. It seems like later this month, it's going to be the announcement. Now, we know Ghost of Tsushima just released on PC. God of War Ragnarok will come next. Probably going to be sooner than later, given previous timelines. We might get this before the end of the year. We played on PS5. Do you guys think you're going to pick up a PC port? Or do you feel like you've played enough on PlayStation? What are you guys thinking?
I know somebody who is.
Yeah, I've said this before. I will absolutely be picking up the PC port on this one. I played the God of War 2018 on a friend's PlayStation 4. I had to kind of just blow through the game because he really was anxious to have his PlayStation back. It's fine. And then when it released on PC, I took my time. I played the game exactly the way that I wanted to play it. I did almost every optional side mission and boss and really just lived in that world. And I loved every second of it. It's my favorite game of all time. Ragnarok didn't quite have to rush through it as much. But again, we were covering it for the show. I had borrowed Ryan's PlayStation 5 at that point. Was trying to just make it through the campaign, maybe a little bit of looking around here and there, but I want to just dive into this game and I want to play it at my pace. I want to soak it in. I want to savor it. I will absolutely be picking this up and playing it.
Nice. Yeah, I think I probably will too, just to get another good playthrough and then play it on the PC, kind of see how the port transfers over. But a good thing too is then Josh will be able to check out Valhalla, which has been pretty stinking awesome. I haven't got all the way through that yet, but it was a lot of fun. But it's cool to see these ports transfer over and like the last one come out so seamlessly and do well. So I'm hoping this one does the same, but it's definitely exciting.
And it was relatively cheap. The God of War port was $50, I believe, at release on Steam. So for those who are patient and don't have a PlayStation and wait, you get a really nice port, and it's a little bit cheaper too. So it really seems like it's win-win for a lot of people.
The company that's doing the PC port, is it the same one that did the original God of War?
Considering it hasn't even been officially announced, I don't think we know for sure.
Please let it be Jetpack Interactive. That's who did the God of War 2018 PC port. We've said this before. It's the most flawless PC port I have ever seen in my entire life.
A very good port, but I will say that they had some of the funniest button mapping if you played on mouse and keyboard. I remember activating your Spartan Rage. It was something like Control-Shift-Middle mouse button clicking it in. It was like such a weird combo that made me laugh so hard. I was like, okay, I get it. It's supposed to be played on controller, but like whoever thought of these button mappings on keyboard, I don't know what they were thinking.
Did you guys see any of the all the kind of PlayStation console fanboys crying about it? There, a bunch of people online were saying how there's no more exclusives anymore, and why is everything going to PC? And
it's been that way for a few years. I feel like everyone should be used to that. We got Spider-Man, The Last of Us, Uncharted. I mean, all this. Yeah, it's all on PC. You get the 2-year head start if you have the console, and then everyone else gets it a couple years later. Like you can't block everyone for all time. I think that's totally fair.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. All right. And then our final story of the week is a little bit of an EA 2-for-1. So first here, I thought this was so funny. When Battlefield 2042 released, it was so bad and so hated by everyone that when we did our deep dive, I said on the show, this might be the beginning of the end of Battlefield. Like, I even kind of wondered out loud, like, is after Battlefield 5 released so poorly, Battlefield 2042 was in such bad shape. I said, I wonder if they're going to start scaling back, because people clearly don't love Battlefield like they used to. I think they're going to start pulling back, and this might be the beginning of the end. Well, I was 100% wrong on that one, because we read this week that EA is consolidating several of their teams, including DICE, EA Motive, Criterion, and others, to form their largest team ever to create the next Battlefield, which, of course, unsurprisingly, will be a live service game. Do you guys see this potentially ushering in a new golden era for Battlefield, or is this not the answer?
Battlefield's back, baby. It's back, baby.
It's back?
After Battlefield 2042, you can only go up. This
is true.
You know, when you're at the.
Are you sure about that?
Say that.
Are you sure about that?
Sure about that?
I mean, okay, listen. Here's a line from an article, and if this doesn't get you hyped, I don't know what does, guys. Okay. But I mean, this is from a gaming website, and it says, EA is rallying its extensive team resources for its next Battlefield project, promising a game that stretches the boundaries of live service experiences. EA CEO Andrew Wilson, after testing the upcoming game, expressed enthusiastic approval of its progress and potential. Aren't you guys hyped? Come on, man. Yeah,
I'm ready. Yeah,
approval.
What does it even mean? What does it even mean to stretch the boundary of live service gaming? Like, I don't even know what that means.
Product placement in there, Paul. They're going to have skins. They're going to have loot boxes. They're going to have battle passes inside their loot boxes. They're going to have operator packages where the operators explode into loot boxes, and then maybe you get lucky and win a battle pass that you get to pay for after that.
Oh man, this story just made me laugh. I don't know that the answer is throwing more cooks in the kitchen. Like, when I heard this to me sounded like, I feel like they're going about this the wrong way. Instead of saying, okay, we've had a couple failures. By the way, what's the last Battlefield you guys even liked? I think for me it was Battlefield 4.
4 was the bomb.
I did not like Battlefield 1 at all.
But it was the last Battlefield that I thought was satisfactory. Yeah.
Oh, I loved 4. I thought 4 was great.
Yeah, 4 was
fantastic. You guys never played 2.
Yeah.
So.
I haven't played every Battlefield. What are you talking about?
Yeah, we played all of them.
Nothing compares to Battlefield 2.
Oh, we never played 2. Like Josh, we weren't up to his standards.
I always have a soft spot for 1942.
Yeah, buddy. Me and you.
I probably played 5,000 hours
because
of that
that's what
game.
you can do with a good Battlefield game, man.
Yeah. Even just the demo. I've said it on the show before. I had the demo, which was only, I think it was called Coral Sea. And like, I just played it over and over and over because it was just so fun and so big for the time. So yeah, so Battlefield's been in bad shape for a while. Call of Duty just keeps releasing the same game. I feel like I don't know what to do with this. I have been so out on both of these franchises for a while, but just throwing more people and more money, I'm not inclined to think that that's going to solve the problem. I think you have to kind of go back to the roots.
Well, that's
of what
they said about
Battlefield
2042, Paul. We're going back to our roots.
It was a love letter.
Love letter to the fans.
Oh, I forgot about the love letter.
Oh, wait, you mean actually go back to
I don't want your
roots.
love.
Yeah. So I'm not confident in this.
I'm such a sucker for Battlefield though, man. I'm gonna get excited.
Yeah.
They're gonna show me great trailers. You know, they're gonna say, hey, we learned our lesson. This was made by gamers, for gamers, you know? Yeah, again. And then I'm gonna go, guys, remember the glory days of Battlefield? And then I don't want to be hurt again.
Yeah.
That would not be good. They're gonna try to be cool and hip like Helldivers, but they're just gonna do it Battlefield way.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not claiming to have all the answers for this one, but Battlefield's been in rough shape. I really do hope they figure it out. I know we are all rooting for them. We're not hoping it fails. We want a great Battlefield. Obviously, the operator system, and I know that they got rid of it, and supposedly it's in much better shape. but man, Battlefield, they really struggle with release as well. These games are never in good shape. All right. And then while we're on the subject of EA, second part of this story. Now, this is, I'm not surprised by this, but I still find it mind-boggling. So, Josh, you already mentioned his name, CEO Andrew Wilson. He said on an earnings call that in-game dynamic ads have an opportunity to be a, quote, meaningful driver of growth for the company, and that they have teams at the company right now looking at how to thoughtfully implement dynamic ad insertions into their games. We're going through this again with EA. Like, this is a broken record. We already did this just a couple years ago with UFC 4.
The backlash
People
on
got
that was
so
huge.
mad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It was all the ads for the boys on Amazon Prime. They've done this with in-game billboards with the Need for Speed. I mean, we've already done this, and gamers don't like it. There's always a lot of backlash. I guess EA is trying to weigh, like, how much backlash are we going to get versus how much revenue, and is it worth it? But how do you guys feel about the idea of paying full price for games and seeing dynamic ad insertions?
It's like it almost leaves you speechless for a second, because it's hard enough to shell out $70 for a lot of these games that aren't even finished, that take all of these day one patches, have all of these bugs and issues, and now they're just gonna, subdue us with ads through the whole thing.
Arby's, we got the meats.
Yeah, exactly.
When you hit pause, you're gonna get stuff like that.
Yeah,
now.
how are you gonna, like? I just watched. I was scrolling through on like YouTube and stuff, and I saw a clip that was really funny where it was like a dude just playing Skyrim at like 3 a.m, and it imposed him in the world, and it's got the music in the background, and you just get lost in these games. How are you supposed to do that when you're just inundated with just ads? You can't escape. That's why we go and play these games. You try to separate yourself from the world and get into this other world and just check out. And now, like you said, I'm going to have Arby's or check out this movie coming out or stop.
No one out Pizza's the Hut.
Yeah, exactly. It's gone to a level to where they're telling us we're not even going to own the games. Get used to not owning your games. Now you're going to have ads in the games. When is enough going to be enough? And, in line with all the other stuff we're seeing where the reverse review bombing and then the review bombing with Sony stuff, I'd like to see that gamers are taking a stand in trying to figure out a way to make their voice heard. I just don't know what's going to be enough to where these people finally, because they keep trying. They're going to keep doing this until eventually they can get it through. We just have we have to unite everybody, and we have to make a stand.
I mean, honestly, that's the only solution. The reason that EA is trying this again is because they understand how many billions and billions of dollars they can make from being able to put ads in games. Here's the thing. If I am paying $70 for a game and you put ads in it, I'm going to hate you very quickly. If you want to give me a free-to-play game and put ads in it, okay. Like, fine. Like, I'm not begrudging somebody from making money. Like, we have never, been against people making money from their hard work. The problem is that you don't soak me for $70 and then try to put ads in a game that I paid for. So, that's a big no-no. EA is going to keep trying this. It's too valuable for them, and they will eventually wear gamers down to a certain degree. The only way that we are going to absolutely stop this trend is if we refuse to buy the games that EA is doing this in. We've seen this stuff being tested all across the world. Like, completely ungaming, but like Mercedes for a while had heated seats in their cars where you had to pay a higher premium to be able to unlock the heated seats. Like, that's bananas. But people got really ticked, and Mercedes came out and said, we tried it. It didn't work. Sorry about that. And if we give in, that dam is going to burst, man. And then everything we see is going to have ads in it. So, we don't crusade about very many things, but like, you can't support this kind of stuff. Again, if it's a free-to-play game and they want to give it to us and then make money off of ad revenue, fine. I'm okay with that. Don't charge me and then put ads in a game.
Well, and ads sometimes can work in certain kinds of games, generally more casual or mobile games. If you're playing a game that's supposed to be immersive, And now people are throwing company taglines at you, or they're wearing a shirt, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there, or whatever it might be. Like, that's going to pull you out of the game, right? Like, imagine running around like Skyrim and like some NPC just
tries to sell you insurance.
Go drink Sprite. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's what I'm picturing. Like, that's EA would do that if they can get away with it. So it's like, all right, I guess it also kind of depends which games are we saying. If it's mobile and they're free games, obviously I don't care about that nearly as much. But I don't want to be playing Need for Speed and looking at actual ads on billboards on the road. Like, come on.
See, that's weird because I'm actually okay with that kind of ad. Because in racing, like most racetracks are just coated in ads anyway. So it's like my brain is kind of already used to that, in the sense that it's like if I'm driving in a car and I pass a Taco Bell billboard, like I guess my brain's just trained for that, But it's like if you're stopping the game and inserting an ad, or you're trying to have Jake from State Farm come walking up to me in Skyrim or something like that, like now we've got an issue in that regard, because it's just, does not compute in my brain that way. But I do think there are some games where we're just so used to seeing that, like sports games, like Madden. I can understand like, a field having advertisements, going around the edge of the football field or something like that. I don't know. I'm still not supporting it, but I'm saying there are ways that I think they could do it where we're kind of already used to something like that. But then again, the ad companies aren't going to want to just blend into the background either if they're paying all this money.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not what EA is thinking. No, they're thinking full 60-second unskippable ad breaks. I guarantee it. Because that's where the big money is. That's why it's on Peacock. That's why it's on Amazon Prime. That's why everyone is putting these ads into their services now. It's the unskippable ads that make them
halfway through a boss. It's like,
oh my God. I would die. I would rage.
Watch this ad for another healing flask.
So
you're going to get that.
Oh, no. It would be unfathomable.
I know you say you like certain ones that could fit and stuff, but for me, it's just
and that's
you give an inch,
and again, I'm not condoning
it's gotta
this. You
be
know what
nothing.
I'm saying? I'm just saying, like, I think there are ways that it could be unobtrusive, so to speak. But again, if it starts there, that's where they're going to start it. They're going to try to desensitize people to it, right? Like this is how it works, is it's like, we'll put it in this game. We'll try it in that one. We'll take it away. We'll put one little one in there until people stop complaining about it. And then we'll do a few more without them. And then we'll try a 30-second ad break, and they'll slowly ease up to it to just desensitize everybody to it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly, I think, what's going to happen. So I think we'll just have to keep our eye on EA. Might have to hold them a little bit accountable here and there if needed. We'll see. If the choice, I don't know. Like, what's coming next? Are they going to offer us multiple tiers? Like, you can buy this game for $80 and now it's ad free, or you can buy it for $70 with limited ads. Like,
I mean, Paul, how about if I told you that in an upcoming Star Wars game that if you paid $70 more, I'll give you an extra mission that you get to do. You get more content if you're willing to pay more.
Yeah, along with ads, right? Oh my goodness. All right. Well, this was an interesting week for news. I prefer to break down game trailers and cool announcements. At least the God of War Ragnarok news is kind of exciting. Rest of this week, a little bit of a downer, but at least it was fun to talk about. So I think that wraps everything up here for this week in gaming. As a reminder, please consider supporting our pod on Patreon if you enjoy our content. You can sign up at multiplayersquad.com. Follow us on socials at VideoGamersPod, rate us 5 stars, and we would love if you would come join our Discord community. There's a link in the episode description. We would love for you guys to come say hi to us there. Thank you to everyone for listening and following our show, and until next time, happy gaming.
Get my sign off after this short ad.
Do you or a loved one have uncontrollable itching?
See ya.
See you, everybody.
Oh,